Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Hanzo back into the Card Fae Vanguard deck profiles. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get one started, shall we? This time we have Nubatama, the Ninja Masters, Fugen, and Hanzo, the evil stealth dragons. Oh my god, I cannot tell you how much I love this deck. I just test played it for the first time yesterday night. Fuck, that was awesome. I don't know what was more awesome, the anime level bullshit I pulled out of my ass, or just like the consistency of the deck. I'm not even joking, like sometimes I get overhyped just to make the point get across. No, this time it's not a bit or like me getting actually overhyped. This is just me normal hyping it, because god, the deck is awesome and it's fun. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll explain to you piece by piece, if I remember to, of why this deck is funny and fun to play. So first up we have our starter, an evil stealth dragon, Ushimitsumaru. Again, I don't know why I enjoy saying that, but every time I say that, I just enjoy it. Grade 0 boost, 10k shield, 6k base. Auto one's wrote upon, draw a card, then if your opponent's Vanguard to grade 1 or greater, add a quick shield ticket to your hand. Standard starter, nothing special about it. The main reason you run this as your starter in particular, just because evil stealth dragon theme, you know, you want to get as much evil stealth dragons as physically possible in the deck. This doesn't have to be your starter, none of the cards require it to be your starter, but preferred, you know, that type of stuff. Either way, the draw is really nice. You can always top deck off it. You can get a quick shield from it, which has actually saved my ass so much more in this deck than it has in any other deck. So hell yes, Ushimitsumaru, MVP starter in this deck. That's your starter. On to our trigger lineup. We run 4 copies of Stealth Beast Mijin Gakure, grade 0 boost, 0 shield, 5k base, draw trigger to your center with 4 zones in your deck, and auto guard when placed, discard a card from your hand. When it reads, cannot be attacked to battle. So standard PG, nothing too special about it. Here's my thing with this deck. You can run 12 crits, because this is the deck that is balanced on offense and defense, except in the case where you are forced to go on the defense, the draw PGs will save you. Just saying. If you want to go 12 crit to rush your opponent, sure. But on the turns where you're on a Fugen, you don't really need extra criticals, because Fugen already gets you an extra critical to front row, by the way, and the defensive turns, well, crit ain't gonna do shit when they can outnumber you, and then you're just gonna need the hand cards to make sure you're defensive. So yeah, 4 draw PGs is kind of the way to go with the deck, even if you don't end up using the PGs as actual PGs, just use them as draws. Then we have 8 crit in Stealth Dragon Ganbaku and Stealth Dragon Kurogane. Gotta get those Stealth Dragons, boys. You know, ninja guy who cuts through the moon and thing that literally just drops bombs on anyone. The 8 crits really help out. You know, you want to be as aggressive as possible. Granted, the draw triggers are there for the defensive aspect. I suggest running this trigger lineup. Even if you choose to make one of the crits the crit settle and just keep a regular draw, I do suggest just keeping this trigger lineup in terms of what the trigger amounts, just because, you know, it adds for consistency and you don't lose too many hand cards. You still have the defensive, and you can go on the offense with your 8 crits. And then we have our 4 heals in Voracious Stealth Rogue Kosare, grade 0 boost, 20k shield, 5k base. Love it because of the moon in the background. I love the sakura petals. You know, I've been seeing some trees recently that have like the flowers, not flowers, they bloom different flowers, or at least like it looks like they bloom different flowers of different colors each season. I've literally been taking pictures on my phone just to keep track of them, and I know one of them blooms sakura, so I was like, I love it so much. Then I stole one, and then it died very quickly because I forgot, right? You have to put flowers in water to keep them alive. But yeah, we're running this heal. If you want to know why we're not running the grade 3, what's it called? Grade 3 Heal Guardian, it's just because of detrimental to my playstyle. If you want a better explanation, go to the Locks video from a few months ago. You'll get a better explanation there, but otherwise you're just getting it detrimental to my playstyle. Run the Heal Guardian if you want. I prefer not to. On to our grade 1s. This is where you're all going to question me on this, which I do question if some people question me, and then I don't question them because I can understand why. First up, we have 3 copies of Evil Stealth Dragon Kage Sarashashi. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, act rear guard, retire this unit, call up to 2 shadow evil decoy tokens. Then if you have a Vanguard Hanzo in its card name, shove a hand card to soul, search it up to 1 Hanzo, reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. It's a named once per turn. Now, you may be wondering, why are we running this? And especially if you know me, I hate running cards you can't use the full abilities of, which means if we're running this, we're running a Hanzo. That is correct. We are running both Hanzos. The reason for this, Hanzo's the defensive aspect. Listen, you can run any glass cannon you want. You can literally turn almost any deck into a glass cannon, unless it literally has no offensive power whatsoever. But this deck can work really well on the defensive, because if you make it all glass cannon, you have to be all glass cannon, and there's not enough evil decoy spammers to make it worth being an all glass cannon, which is where Hanzo comes in. The defensive aspect can make it a glass cannon, but still have that really nice defensive, and then on your next turn, you can literally make 5 evil decoy tokens in 1 turn if you have the counterblast to do so and or the soul. So yeah, Kaguragashi is here solely because the first skill, gain those 2 decoy tokens, is very important, especially because for Fugen to be fully useful, you need at least 3 decoy tokens, so that fills up most of them right then and there. And then if you're on Hanzo, you can get the defensive Hanzo out. So, and also it sends cards to soul, and this deck does somehow have a soul problem, so Kagasara Sashi is a really nice grade 1. It's really good in this deck. 3 of. Then we have 4 copies of straight up one of the best grade 1s in this deck that I have had a change of opinion on every time I upgrade this deck. Evil Stealth Dragon Kurogane. When we had the first Hanzo, I thought he sucked because I could never get past 2 soul, and soul blasting 2 for his skill was the worst. When we got the other Hanzo, okay, he was easier to pull off and I liked him more, but I didn't think he was the best. This deck, MVP. Like, best grade 1, hands down. If you've seen the game, actually no, you haven't seen the game yet because it's going up before the game. But when you, wait, no, they're going up at the same time, never mind. If you've seen the game, then you know what I'm referring to, but the bullshit you can pull with this card, but if you haven't, so be it. Anyways, his skill is an act rear guard, soul blast 2, bounce into hand, call to 2 evil decoy tokens. They're grade 0s with 5k shield and have intercept. So, you know, they can also intercept from back row, which is nice. So that adds for the defensive aspect of it. But the important thing is this. Soul Blast 2, well, yes, that is a cost heavy. It gets you 2 tokens, and Fugen requires an ability when your rear guard is bounced. There are 3 or 4 cards, I don't remember, I think there's 3 cards in this deck that can bounce stuff to hand. This is one of them. That means it's an instant trigger for Fugen, who can make another token. So if Fugen's on Van and this skill activates, you essentially get 3 tokens and a possible protect gift. Kurogane is a straight up monster in this deck. He is hands down a good card. You only need 1 of them, the rest of them just act as shield, and that's really nice, you know, just having extra shield cards, because I know some people who say like, oh, well, you don't want to have like waste of space cards if you're not going to use them. Yeah, that's true, but then there's also, you know, the thing to consider where some people do this. I know I'm the type of person that would do this, where if I have a card, if it's a choice between possibly using it and using it as guard fodder, I will use it if I haven't used it that match, unless I have no other choice. If I have to guard with it, I will, but I will otherwise willingly not guard with it, even if it gets me killed. For example, a grade 3, and I know in a situation where it's a 50-50 chance if I don't discard it for a PG, I could lose, I would rather keep that grade 3 if it's a 50-50. So, you know, Kurogane is one of those cards where you only need 1 of them, but the other 3 act as like perfect shields. Kurogane is amazing. 4 of. It's just a good grade 1. Then we have 4 copies of Stealth Beast Megami, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Act rear guard, once per turn, retire one of your grade 0 rear guards. Soul charge 1. Okay, this is where you get your soul for Kurogane. There's very few soul chargers. It's only Kagurashi and Megami that do the soul charging. But you know, still good. Get in soul, even if it's once per turn, that's fine, because you can just call multiple of them and kill your tokens and then keep calling them back with bullshit skills, and it opens up rear guard circles. And auto rear. At the end of the battle that it boosted a rear guard, Soul Blast 1, bounce it in the boosted rear guard to hand. Okay, so it's an instant trigger for Fugen during the battle phase, because it is an auto skill, and not to mention that, you know, you get an extra 10k shield back to hand and at least a 5k shield, presumably, as long as it wasn't a grade 3. So, you know, opens up rear guard circles, gets you shield back, and possibly allows for more multi-attack, and it has a pretty cool art. My only thing is this. This is our last grade 1. If you can see a trend with all of our grade 1s, none of them have Vanguard skills. So whatever you ride for your grade 1 turn is going to be a vanilla. So that's where it comes down to where if you have multiple grade 1s, you genuinely have to think about what's more important. In my opinion, keep Kurogane in hand. Just keep it in hand. If it's a choice between these 2, keep Kurogane. Kurogane will get you a board faster than this one can, and frankly, this 2 Soul Blast is a small cost to pay, even if you're not going to get consistent soul charging. Because this is mainly here just so you can keep spamming this fucker. So, yeah, 4 copies of Megami. Helps set up for Fugen, helps combos with Kurogane, all around nice grade 1. 4 of, I wish I had a Vanguard skill just so this deck would have a non-vanilla grade 1 turn, but whatever. On to our grade 2s. Our grade 2s are not vanilla turns, as long as you end up with one of the 2 that have a Vanguard skill. So, first up we have Stealth Dragon Jaenjin, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 9k base. Auto rear when it attacks if you've called 2 or more grade 0s this turn. This is this deck. These two automatically fulfill that cost on their own. This unit gets +5 till end of turn. At the end of the battle, shove it to soul, countercharge 1. So, get your soul. So that's cool. It gets them for these two. Opens up board for multi-attack, which is even better. And countercharges 1 so you can keep abusing skills such as Fugen. And, what's his name? I just forgot, and I always remember him. I'll remember him later when we're gonna go over it soon. Either way, Jaenjin's an amazing card. I like him. 3 of, because countercharge and 5k and opens up board for multi-attack, and the fact that he only needs to call 2 grade 0s for this to go off, and that's amazingly easy in this deck. It just makes him a good card, so 3 of. Then we have 3 copies of Evil Stealth Dragon, Yami Shibuki. Now, I'm about to say, this thing is important. Like, this is one of the most important cards in the deck for, like, multi-attacking. And you may be questioning, then, why is it at 4? I mean, not at 4. Well, because it costs a counterblast, and you know, Jaenjin you're not always going to see. But at the same time, you don't need it at 4 because most of the time your field's going to be spammed with 4 evil decoy tokens, and the last rear guard is really up to you. So, Yami Shibuki is a grade 2 with intercept, 5k shield, 9k base. Continues rear guard. During your turn, this unit gets plus 5k for each of your grade 0 rear guards. If this is the rear guard you have, when you have 4 tokens, this is a 29 on its own. If you use Fugen's ability, this is a 49 double critical. As a grade 2 on first grade 3 turn if you're going second without any other boost or gifts or triggers or anything. Yeah, that's a number that you don't want to fuck with. And then auto van or rear, when it attacks, counterblast 1, bounce another rear guard to hand, call to 2 decoy tokens. Again, just call 2 more. You get so much defensive power so quickly with this deck the second you hit grade 2 turn. It's amazing, it's bullshit, and I question so much of it. But whatever, and not to mention that worst case scenario, this is a deck where you can just start calling triggers because you can just start bouncing shit with like this guy, and call 2 more units, and then you have more interceptors to work with. You possibly have multi-attack, if depending on what vanguard you're on, and you just got your shield back. So, Yami Shibuki, really nice card. He can boost himself up during the battle phase, and just has good skills for van and rear. All around, really nice card. 3 of. Then we have Evil Stealth Dragon Zangetsu. That's what his name is. You know, the funny thing is this. I know I would have remembered him out of spite. Because every time I needed him before we got the newer grade 2 that can do something very similar, I always would damage check 3 of them, and the last one would have to end up in my hand really soon. Otherwise, I would basically lose the game because I had no consistent way of creating tokens really quickly outside of this and this. But also my tokens wouldn't be able to boost because this is the thing that gave them boost. But now that we have something else that can give them boost, I don't remember his name anymore. I still run them both at 4 because I'm paranoid as fuck, but still. So Evil Stealth Dragon Zangetsu is a grade 2 with intercept, 5k shield, 10k, 9k base. You still maybe want this guy at a 3 just to make your tokens more dangerous. You don't need them at a 3 of, but I think it's just best to keep them at a 3 of just to make them, you know, more consistently dangerous. Act Vanguard or Rear Guard, counterblast 1, call an evil decoy token to rear, and until end of turn, all your tokens get boost and plus 5k shield. So, I mean, plus 5k power. So that's good. It can boost any token. So if you ran it in multiple token mixes, like a Mask of Domination token, the Domination token would still get that 5k in boost. But, you know, gives all your tokens plus 5k in boost. Doesn't sound that much when they're just base power is 0. Okay, show protect gifts on them. They're 10k boosters. Okay, yeah, that doesn't sound impressive, but remember, all of them get it. And not to mention that he's not a once per turn. So you can counterblast 1, call 1, cool. All your tokens currently on the field get plus 5. Counterblast another 1, call another token. The ones from earlier get another plus 5, and then the one that was just called just gets 1 plus 5. So at least one of them sitting at a 10, and then the other one sitting at a 5. And you can just keep doing that. I remember I did that 5 times in a consecutive row just to say fuck it, and my whole board, well, one of them gained 25, and then the other ones just gained God knows how much. And then auto rear, when attacked, you may change this attack target to one of your rear guards with tokens, and if you do, return this unit to hand. So he can avoid death. He can make your opponent swing into one of your tokens that may just be the 5k shields, and then bounces up the hand so he can't die, saving you shield and saving your self from losing one of your most important playmakers, especially if you don't have the other grade 2 that can give them boost in your hand. Because giving your tokens boost makes them so much more dangerous. Zangetsu is amazing in this deck. 4 of or 3 of, but I prefer a 4 of just because paranoia. Then we have 4 copies of our last grade 2, and the grade 2 that makes me that makes me feel a lot better now that I don't have to solely rely on Zangetsu to make my cards good. Evil Stealth Dragon Kagugachi. Grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 9k base. Auto was placed on van or rear. Call up to 1 evil decoy token to rear guard. Okay, so you get a free decoy token. You don't have to call one. That's the other thing I've been meaning to say, by the way. None of these specifically call a certain number. They all say up to. So if you don't want to call, you don't have to. The only one that forces you to call one is Zangetsu. Everyone else says up to. So that's really nice. He can call a token for free. And then active Vanguard or Rear Guard once per turn. Soul Blast 1 till end of turn. All your evil decoy tokens get boost and plus 5k power. So unlike Zangetsu, you can't spam it multiple times. So whatever tokens are currently on the field, those are the ones that are getting it, and the ones that appear after don't get it. And you can't stack power or boost, but that's really nice so that he can still give the extra power to the ones currently on the field. You just have to use it last, and you can still use Zangetsu, because Zangetsu can just counterblast and call more and then give them power. So Kaguchi in combination with Zangetsu can just make a board full of BS power tokens, because you can just use Zangetsu, counterblast 1, make a like 4 tokens, and then one of them is just going to have 20, one of them is going to have 15, one of them is going to have 10, and one of them is going to have 5. You call over Zangetsu with this thing. All of them now have boost, even though they already have a boost to begin with. One of them has 10, one of them has 15, one of them has 20, and the other one has 25, assuming none of them have gifts on them, but that's also probably not possible. So yeah, really good card. The only downside is it costs a Soul Blast for it, but gets numbers, gets boost, makes the deck a lot more consistent, and gets you tokens. All around nice grade 2, 4 of. On to our grade 3 lineup. We run 2 copies of Evil Stealth Dragon Akatsuki Hanzo, grade 3, Twin Drive Protective, 12k base, active Vanguard, once per turn, retire 2 grade 0 rear guards. By the way, I've been meaning to say about these grade 0 rear guards, none of them require them to be specifically tokens. They can just be triggers if you choose to call triggers. I wouldn't suggest it, but go ahead. And this unit gets plus 20 for the turn. And then you bounce all of your opponent's rear guards to hand. Well, technically, you don't have to... Oh. Huh. I never read his skill fully. So apparently, he allows you to pick any number of all rear guards, including your own, and bounce them to each player's hands. So, you know, you can bounce all of your rear guards, you can bounce all of your opponent's rear guards, or bounce any combination of them. And then if your opponent was a grade 3 or greater at the time, they choose cards from their hand equal to the number of their cards returned to their hand, and discards them. So, pretty much, if they had a full field of 5 and you bounce 5, they have to discard 5 if they're at grade 3. So that makes this deck really nice, like going second, and it's one of the, I think this was, in my opinion, one of the revolutionary cards of its time. That I mean that as like a partial bit, but not really, because it's one of the few grade 3s I can remember that has an effect like that, and doesn't require a grade 3 Soul Blast. Instead, just requires the opponent to be at grade 3. Because it's already a 32k base just from retiring the 2, and they lose a board. But then, if they were at grade 3, they have to discard 5, and well, yeah, they're just getting the 5 back. Well, you also have to remember, now they're losing out on possible rear guards they can call, and they still have to guard for the turn. Difference is, now the rear guard you wouldn't have been able to swing at because you want to make them waste hand cards, can now swing, are now dead anyways because they're stuck in the hand or they're in drop zone now. So that's what Hanzo's for. He's one of the really nice grade 3s to sit on because he just has a good skill, and he combos off with the other grade 3, so... And give him a 2 for that. You do not want this to, I mean, you can want this to be on your Vanguard. It's not the worst thing in the world, but preferably you want Fugen, or if you have to change between Fugen and Hanzo, that works too. Just make sure you have enough cards to spam tokens with. Then, obviously, if you run one Hanzo, you gotta run the other. We have Evil Stealth Dragon Tasugade Hanzo, grade 3 Twin Drive Protective, 12k base, auto hand at the beginning of your opponent's turn. If your Vanguard is Evil Stealth Dragon Akatsuki Hanzo, discard 2, ride him as rest, and all your rear guards get plus 5k shield for the turn. When I realized that it was to all rear guards and not just tokens during that game, I had like love in my heart, because if it wasn't to all rear guards, I would have lost. I mean, I still lost that game, I just would have lost the turn earlier. But really nice that he can basically make it so that while yes, you're losing 2 hand cards, the shield you're about to gain from this is astronomically better because you're getting a protect gift, and you are making sure that all your rear guards are at least have a base shield of 5k. So really nice. And if most of your field is evil decoy tokens, presumably it is with 1 grade 2, then everything on your board can intercept, so you're fine. And at the end of your turn, ride an Evil Stealth Dragon Akatsuki Hanzo from your Soul's Rest. Meaning, ride this, get 1 gift, end your turn, start of the opponent's turn, ride this, get another gift, end of that turn, ride this again from Soul, get another gift. So you got a total of 3 gifts before you even hit your second grade 3 turn. Cool. And auto soul, when your Vanguard with Hanzo and his card name text, can be itself or it can be this. We can retire a grade 0 rear guard, call this to rear until end of turn, and this unit will get plus 20k and can attack from back row. So 32k swing, and if this is your Vanguard, then you have two 32k swings, which is really nice, and you probably have 2 more attacks following up on it. And not to mention, at the end of the turn, you can put him back to soul and get a decoy token. So that's really nice. He can replace himself, get the defensive unit back that you had before. All around, I think Hanzo, and he comes out before the drive check, so you can give him triggers. So all around, I think this Hanzo is really good. Acts as a nice support card. Literally is the sole reason this deck has any defensive power. Well, not the sole reason, but like the thing that just, the turn this comes out, you've got an iron wall of defense unless your opponent starts nuking your shit. So all around, I think this card is really good. You run out of 2 of, so you can play them both in tandem together. Here's the thing, there's no real bad ride in this deck, except that this is the card you see. If this is your only grade 3, I'm willing to say you are fucked, because this actually has a Vanguard skill. This is useless on its own, and then Fugen is preferably your main grade 3. So yeah, you know, don't try not to make this your opening hand grade 3, but yeah, it's just mulligan if it's your only grade 3 you see. Just try to get rid of it, because it's not going to do much good unless this is in hand. And then we move on to our last unit, which is our main grade 3 and our last card in our deck. Evil Stealth Dragon Magoroku Fugen. Did it autocorrect? That's supposed to be Fugen. Sorry, apparently I'm wrong. It is Fugen, and I'm dumb. But anyways, this thing, first off, it looks cool. I like the thing I like the art in the background. It looks like a moon, but you can also think of it as like the falling Hell Hazard meteor from the Gordorvo support card. I really like his scarf just going in the background, all that ninja shit. I like his stance right here. I like his face and that little white bulge in the background. I just like his design so much, and I fucking love this card. I enjoyed making the thumbnail for the video for its fight video, and I just like love staring at it for 5 seconds. So anyways, grade 3 200 protective, 12k base. Continuous Vanguard. During your turn, all your front row units get +5 for each of your evil decoy tokens. Keyword being all front row. So if you have 3 of them, your whole front row gets +15. So this is a total of 39 on its own. Then Continuous Vanguard. If your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater and you have 3 or more evil decoy tokens, all your front row gets a crit. So this is on a crit with 27k base at the least. This is 39 with a crit. And you probably have an evil decoy token in the front row, which you can afford to have because it probably has at least +15 on it. Probably has a protective too, so it's at 20 with a crit. Cool. And you probably found a way to give boost to your tokens. So yeah, the tokens are going to be helpful too. And Auto Van, when your rear guards return to your hand by your card's ability, call to 1 evil decoy token to an open rear guard circle. I like how that's for free and it's not once per turn. But not only that, Counterblast 1, get an imaginary gift Protect and put it on that circle. If you chose Protect 1, you can't do anything with that, which is why you pick Protect 2 in this deck. So let me get this straight. If you have an open rearguard circle, after you bounce something to hand, you just get a free token, and then if you called, you can Counterblast 1 and shove a gift on that circle. And the best part about this is that isn't once per turn, which means you can use this and this during the battle phase and get a total of, well, let me do the calculation real quickly. 1 swing with 1 column. You use this thing to bounce that column, get 2 more tokens. Cool. You boost with this thing, so that's 2 attacks. You boost with this thing, bounce the column, 3. Then you use this boy. Oh, wait, I forgot. You're supposed to call another token anyways. Oh, wait, no, never mind. So, yeah, swing 3, okay? Then swing, bounce, you skill, call another column, swing a van. Okay, 5 attacks. 5 attacks if I've done the math correctly. With all of them at least being +15 and extra crit. And you can do this during your turn, during your opponent's turn. Because it just said when a card's returned to your hand by your card's ability. So when Zangetsu bounces himself for sacrificing 1 of your tokens, he can just get that token right back. I don't need to tell you why any of this is good. His skill works as both defensive and offensive, and his first 2 skills can beat the shit out of even Dimension Police. So 4 of I don't want to hear any arguments. Then we have our gifts in 8 Protect 1s, 8 Protect 2s, and you're going to need them because regardless of what grade 3 you're sitting on, you're going to spam a fuck ton of gifts. Protect 1, when acquired, goes to your hand. You can only place it on guard circle. It's a sentinel. And auto guard when placed, discard card from your hand whenever you cannot be sent to battle. You're never going to use this because all of this deck requires you to pick Protect 2, so I don't even know why I bother putting this in here. Protect 2, the one you're actually going to pick, when acquired, goes on a rear guard circle. The unit on there gets plus 5k power and 10k shield and intercepts. The effect stacks, so if you shove 2 on the same circle, the unit on there gets plus 10k during both players' turns, and when it intercepts, it will get plus 20k shield, which means your evil decoy tokens on their own without Tasagari interfering would be 25k intercepts. I prefer to try to get as many gifts out onto the board on separate circles as possible before I start stacking up, because I want the evil decoy tokens to be able to boost with actual numbers without Zangetsu getting involved. I mean, granted, one of these two would have to get involved anyways to give them boost, and they would still get power out of it. But, you know, I want the Protect 2 just to make sure that they can get stacked numbers and to where their intercepts are really good, especially because I don't never want to put on Zangetsu circle because Zangetsu would just bounce himself. So, yeah. And I always normally put them in the back first because, the front's just easier targets. If they're gonna kill it by effect, so be it. But the front is just a circle that they can ram into. So yeah, 8 Protect 2s and 8 Protect 1s, even though you're never gonna use it. And then we have a quick show, which is whenever your attacks plus 5k for the battle. Here's what you do with this. What you do with it is you take an attack from the opponent's vanguard, sack a damage trigger, they swing at you for a boost with a 5k guard is applicable now. You go quick shield and then you say fuck them. Or you just use this as discard fodder for Tasagari. That's what you do it for. You don't do it for anything else, you do it for one of those two things. So yeah, that's the quick show basically. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, I think this deck is amazing. It's super strong. You get bullshit consistency. You have a super defensive tanky shield that can easily turn into a fucking cannon and then break through almost any defensive wall in 5 seconds. And this comes from one of the most defensive decks in the game, I think. Or like, well, yeah, no, I would genuinely call it one of the better defensive decks. It has so much force power. Like, it's insane. I'm not even fucking around. And the multi-attack it can do. This is Magetsu on steroids. That's what I'm calling this. This is Magetsu on steroids. Minus the drive check. So if drive checks became power, that's what this would be. So yeah, I'm into here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow the Twitch, and I'll see you all next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.